The Road of Life, written by Charles Gussman, and brought to you by today's Dream Shampoo. It helps your permanent hold its curl. And Crisco, America's favorite vegetable shortening. It's digestible.
Water. How much water? 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. Oh, well, I'll just do it again.
Perfect pie crust. And anybody at all can make flaky, tender pie crust the Crisco way. Crisco and Crisco's pastry method ends pie crust failure.
Take care of this, Mother. Get off the line. The matter will be taken care of, Mr. Maitland. And may I suggest that in the future, you let me know about these matters by letter as you've always done in the past? Yes, it has happened frequently in these last few months, only because I'm confined to a wheelchair and I have more on my mind than keeping my bank balance straight. It will be taken care of, I told you. Since when has all this fuss become necessary when my account is short? My father will have a few words to say to your superior about this, I'm sure. Very well. When it is convenient to me.
Your account is overdrawn?
Used to be they wouldn't dare hound us for funds when one of the accounts was overdrawn.
Yes, as you very well know, Bunny, times have changed.
And he shot off his face to Mother. She answered the phone and he was discussing my affairs with Mother.
That is a situation we can hardly afford to be indignant about, Bunny.
If you borrow money from Mother, that doesn't mean I have to be beholden to her.
Being overdrawn, does that mean you sent a check to Mooch Peters?
Did you think I was going to ship him pennies from my piggy bank?
A very dangerous thing to do. You must realize that.
You mailed the letter with a check in it yourself.
All right, then I've been guilty of the same carelessness. But I received a warning this afternoon, and we must be more cautious.
You mean Stu Beasley wanting permission to check on Mooch's call with the phone company?
Yes.
I told you when you called, Daddy. Mooch's name will not be on the records. The only thing the records will show is that the call came from somewhere around Austin, Texas. Mooch is hundreds of miles from there by now.
All right, there may be no harm done this time. But the very fact that Beasley was asked for the information should be a warning to us. They've guessed correctly that you're in contact with the man who phoned Jocelyn that day.
Frank Dana fancies himself a super sleuth. He goes off suspecting in all directions.
Just so happens in this case the suspicion didn't come from him.
No?
He made it quite clear that he was acting on behalf of Jocelyn. Does that suggest anything to you?
Jim mentioned it to her, probably, because he didn't think it was very important. If he had really thought it meant something, he'd have kept the information to himself.
May I have a word with you, Conrad?
Well, look who's ventured out of her snug sanctuary.
I just got home, Ada. I was coming up to say hello. I'll be along in a few moments.
You can discuss it in my presence, Mother. I've told Daddy you listened in on the phone call from the bank.
I didn't listen in, and I don't at all object to discussing it in your presence.
At last she has something about which to throw her weight around.
Well, if this is about financial matters, Ada, I would much prefer
I think it's time that Sybil were made aware of our circumstances.
Something entirely between you and Daddy.
Since the money you spend comes from...
I don't care where it comes from. So don't bore me with the details.
Sonny, your mother's been very helpful to us in the past year. A great deal has had to come from her own private income.
It's between you and Mother.
I'll be in my room, Conrad.
Look how high and mighty she's become. We can't go on this way, Daddy.
I'm doing all I can.
Jim doesn't say so. But I'm sure one of the things that's worrying him is how dependent I'd be on him. That I'd be a burden to him if we should marry. Isn't it about time we should be expecting something from Gordon's father's estate?
Byron Unger is in touch with that situation.
Get him to do something then. We can't keep on like this, just waiting.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I should urge him to be a little more active.
The view from here is delicious. And you know, you can make pies like these. Yes, ma'am, pies with perfect crust. Just use Crisco. You see, pure all-vegetable Crisco ends pie crust failure. Follow this easy pastry method, and your problems are over. Now take the water problem. Are you never sure how much to add? No guesswork with Crisco. It's specially made to mix with water, and we can tell you exactly how much to use. 3 tablespoons. And suppose the dough doesn't roll out right the first time. Pick it up, roll it out again. 2 or 3 times if you need to. You'll still get perfect pie crust every time. Tender, flaky, digestible. Because the one and only Crisco ends pie crust failure.
Been meaning to call you, Conrad. Had a letter from them just yesterday. Or was it the day before? No, yesterday it was.
There was nothing new in the letter, though, I gather?
As a matter of fact, Conrad, sounded like developments are expected, the letter did.
Yes? Of what sort?
Well, why don't you stop in here tomorrow? I'll show the letter to you.
There's plenty of time left today, Byron. I'm going to be very close to your office in just a few minutes.
Come right along then, Conrad. Be waiting for you.
Very well. I'll see you in a few minutes. Well, something has been done. He's received a letter.
I wish you'd retain an attorney who gets things done.
He is acting in exactly the proper manner. There are a great many things that have to be settled, you know, Bunny. Constance custody, for one thing.
Yes, I'm ready for that now.
Ready for that?
I see a place for Connie in my life now. Before I didn't, Daddy. Now I do.
It doesn't depend just on your wishes, Bunny.
Judge Hartzell will give Connie to me now that I have Jim to look after both of us.
Oh, Bunny, Bunny.
Don't use that pitying, purring tone of voice.
When will you learn that everybody doesn't look at things from the same point of view that we do?
Time is coming, Daddy, when we'll be able to insist that people see things our way. Again. Just as it used to be, Daddy. Oh, it'll be good to have money again.
I don't think we've wanted for very much the past 2 years.
Except the respect that was once shown us. Tell Mr. Unger that there'll be a sizable reward for him if he handles things quickly.
I imagine he knows that. I'll be back shortly.
We'll be gracious and democratic, but we won't let them forget who we are.
I said I'd be back shortly.
I must be careful, though, not to let Jim think he's beneath me.
Doesn't come right out and say so, the letter. But you kind of get a notion that they done some thinking up there in New York about the infant's claim, I mean. Right there, especially. Of course, a trust fund will have to be set up for the child. You see? will have to be set up, not would have to be. That means that, as far as the law firm's concerned, your granddaughter does have a claim to a share of the estate.
So it would seem.
You know, Conrad, it ain't at all impossible that Constance can claim everything in the estate after the charitable bequests have been dispersed.
Our only interest is in seeing that my granddaughter Constance's claim is protected.
Of course. I know you're not interested in anything for yourself. But it wouldn't be such a bad thing now, would it? Be able to vote all that stock for the child? Mind you, I'm not saying that it's any special ambition of yours, Conrad, but might be kind of nice to be a member of the boards of some of them big corporations, eh?
We'll just let things come as they will, Byron.
Won't do no harm to light a fire under 'em. Somebody's got to keep things moving.
Exactly what is it that's holding up the settlement of the estate?
Well, there's a lot of things have to be considered in a situation like we have here. For example, they've got to be sure Mr. Fuller is dead. The body has never been recovered. All they know is that the plane went down.
Surely after a year and a half.
Takes time. Takes time, Conrad. Awful lot of things happen when they settle up an estate like that one. Why? Wouldn't be a bit surprised if the stock market reflected the transfer of all them holdings. You're in a nice position, Conrad. Real nice.
I am only interested in my granddaughter's welfare.
I know. If you should be a little pinched for money, feel free to call on me as a friend.
Well, I'm doing very nicely, Byron. Thank you just the same.
Just mention that in case.
Byron, just as an offhand question, you think my daughter might have a claim to part of this estate?
You know, Conrad, I've been giving that some thought. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if she does.
We'll have to look into that possibility.
I am Michael of the Waldorf. My business is beautiful hair. Do you have a permanent? Then let me tell you about a remarkable shampoo that will actually help your permanent hold its curl. I will show you with this permanent. Now, see this side before the shampoo. The curls are limp. They droop. The other side has been washed with the remarkable shampoo I spoke of. The curls are springy and elastic. What is that shampoo? Today's Dream. Today's Dream shampoo with its hairspring formula. When you wash your permanent with Dream, your curls will have amazing spring and bounce. See for yourself. Shampoo your hair with Today's Dream. Help your permanent hold its curl. Today's Dream with its hairspring formula. Get it at your favorite store.
The Road of Life has been brought to you by Today's Dream Shampoo. It helps your permanent hold its curl. And Crisco, America's favorite vegetable shortening. It's digestible.
The big one was when I got a call about the Clio Awards.
The next room. You guys have no concept. Come on in. Right. This is all part of a collection that I have never gotten to in about 15 years. And the owner of the Clio Awards was in a drug deal. They burnt down his townhouse. And there, folks, is films that I have just pulled out of sales films, commercials, regional films, spot advertisements. great history of television that I've never been able to get to.
Now I have to figure out how to finance saving it all. That's the big question. Because there's a lot of rare, one-of-a-kind items that need to be saved. Musty smell. So the key is to transfer it all now digitally, then store it all away. And my goal one day is to walk into a building and there is everything I have in little plastic containers on a wall, organized.
George, stop the machine. Stop the machine.
This film's so old it just breaks up in your fingers.
Can't you patch it together again?
Not a chance. Celluloid's only good for 20 years or so, and then it gets so brittle you can't hardly touch it.
You mean that we can't even see it? Now that we have it?
There's just nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it. Never had the world known a more wonderful way of recording knowledge. But now it was realized that it wasn't permanent, that half a century of history was about to decay out of existence.